Hey guys, so for today's video, I created this eyeshadow look, kind of a cool tone look with a little bit of color, and I used the REM Go-Go Boots eyeshadow palette. I do have some mixed thoughts on this palette, so if you want to see how I got this look and my thoughts on it, go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so before we get started, let's talk about this palette really quick. Again, it is the Go-Go Boots palette. So I recently bought this palette myself because REM Beauty is now available at Ulta, which is super cool, and I wanted to try something from the brand. Obviously, I love eyeshadow, so I had to pick up an eyeshadow palette, and this is the only product I bought from the brand. And I wanted to pick up a palette that had an interesting color story, and I feel like all of her palettes kind of have a weird color story because looking at this palette, I find it hard to create a look with it. And let me be honest here, I tried to film a video with this palette using only this palette, and I was so frustrated that I couldn't create like a pretty cohesive look with it. Before I started filming this video today, I went on YouTube, I looked up this exact palette, and I couldn't find one tutorial that was using shades only from this palette. In every video, someone had to mix shades either with a different REM palette or just a different palette altogether, and I really want to try to create a look using only this palette. I honestly just think that these shades don't go well together. This shade throws me off the most, this kind of really warm copper shade, because every other shade in here is so cool toned, and this just like, it makes it crazy. I'm gonna try my best to not use any other shadows, but if it goes terribly, I might have to. So I already primed my eyes with the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer, and I set that with a translucent powder. I'm gonna start with the Sigma E54 and this shade right here, and I'm gonna apply this shade all over my lid. So like I said, this is the only product I've tried so far from the brand, so if you have tried any of their products, I would love to know what you're loving, what you're hating. So I did have to dip back into this shade a couple times. You can see I'm really pressing it into my eye socket, all the way up in here. I never know how to describe these type of colors. It's almost like a gray, but it has a little bit of a brown undertone to it. I also really like how the shade looks with my blue eyes. This isn't a shade that I wear very often, but it's super pretty. All right, so I have that shade packed all over my lid. Now I'm gonna take a clean blending brush. This is a Sigma E25, and we're just gonna soften and blend in the crease. So like I said, I tried filming a whole video with this palette, and like I completed a look, but I hated the look so much that I ended up never posting that video. And I even like put this palette away. I was like, I don't even want to see this palette. It just made me so frustrated looking at it. But I thought, like, I spent my money on this palette. I need to get some use out of it. So here we are. What I really need right now is like a soft kind of cool tone brown to help blend in the crease. Like this is blending out nicely, but I don't like the look of having just all shimmer on my eyelids. So I think I am gonna dip into another palette just because I need a matte brown. All right, so I am gonna stick with the cool tone kind of theme. So I'm gonna take the ColourPop That's Taupe palette. I know this is a super popular palette, which is why I'm grabbing this one. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this Rock Steady shade on that same brush. And I'm just taking a tiny bit, and I'm gonna add this in the crease. This is almost like the same tone and color as the one in the REM palette. So I am focusing this shade just kind of on my outer crease and a little bit on the outer lid right here. So here is this eye with the matte shade, and this eye doesn't have it. See how this one just looks better? The matte shade just also helps to add more depth to the look. So just by adding that one matte shade, I'm so much happier with how this looks so far. Now back to that first brush I used, I'm gonna take this lightest shade, and I'm gonna add that kind of on the inner part of the lid and also in my inner corner, just to kind of brighten up this whole area. Now on that same E25, I'm gonna take the deepest shade, and I picked up that shade right on the tip of this brush, and I'm just gonna lightly pat that on the outer half of my lid, just to add even more dimension and depth to the look. And this is just gonna make a really subtle difference, nothing too crazy. All right, I feel pretty good about this so far. I'm gonna go do my face makeup off camera and then we'll finish up the eyes together. Okay, so my face makeup is done. Let's do the lower lash line. I just got these new pencil liners from KVD Beauty and I wanna try one out today. There is a gray shade that I think will be perfect for this look. I don't think I've ever used like a gray gel eyeliner, but let's try it out. Packaging is super cute and it's a twist up, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna run this kind of in my waterline and along my lower lash line. We'll see how this does. All right, so I like how that color looks. It's very soft. I like the gray tone. I'm gonna go back to that E54 I was using and just try to smudge this out a little bit. I decided I need a smaller brush, so I'm going to take a Sigma E21 with that first shade we started with, and I'm going to add that to the lower lash line. Now I'm going to take this shimmery lilac shade, and I'm going to pop that in the inner part of my lower lash line. Kind of right in here. So it's kind of similar to the technique in my video where I did a neutral eyeshadow with a pop of pastel. Like, this is such a fun way to add just a little pop of color. I actually really like how that looks, so I'm gonna add even more like right on my actual inner corner. Then I am gonna go back to that lightest shade. I'm gonna place that right on top of the purple. Try not to cover it too much, but I wanna add just a little more lightness right here. I'm gonna go pop on some mascara and lashes and then I'll show you the full face. All right, here are the eyes all done with the mascara and lashes. For my lashes, I went with a half lash from my brand, The Bright Lashes, and I'm wearing the style Flare. While we're close up, I gotta say that KVD eyeliner, it was really pretty at first, but I feel like it kind of faded a bit, like in between my lower lashes. I can still kind of see it in my waterline, but I might have to play with some other colors to see how that formula really is. And here's what the full face looks like. Let me tell you what else is on my face because I know you guys like to know. For my blush, I'm actually really excited about this product. It's the Bare Minerals Bronzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. They just sent me 3 shades of this. I don't really know how many shades there are in general, but this shade is the more pinker one, which I thought would pair nicely with this kind of cool toned eye. The other shades are very bronzy and kind of more red toned, which is not what I wanted today, but I'm actually really excited about this product. I love the idea of a blush and bronzer mixed together just to give you that like sun-kissed glow, so I think I'm gonna be using these a lot in the spring, summer. Anyways, not important right now. My lips is the Kaja Love Swipe in the shade I'm Melting. Again, I went with like a cool tone kind of mauve-y shade. All right, but let's talk about this palette and my final thoughts. I like the look I created. I like it much more than the first look I created with this palette. Because in my first look with this palette, I tried to use that teal with the copper shade, which was honestly just a terrible color combination. So today I used mostly like the cool tone shades, like a soft highlight shade, easy. This shade was gorgeous all over the lid. Like I said, I really like how that looks with my blue eyes. The lilac shade I'm actually loving as like that little pop of color in there. Like, you might not be able to tell from far away, but up close, it's just a fun way to add some color. And then I use that shade to deepen up the outer crease. I feel like you don't really see the color of it a lot, but it definitely did deepen up that look. And then I did end up using that one matte shade from the That's Taupe palette. As I was finishing this look, I had this palette sitting next to me, and you could actually create a really similar look to this using the That's Taupe palette. Like, I feel like this shade right here is really similar to the one all over my lid. So while I like the look I created today, it's really pretty, it is a little too much shimmer for me. I like to have more matte shades in my eyeshadow looks. So would I recommend this palette? Not really, because I feel like you do need to pair it with another palette to make a pretty cohesive look. This copper shade just really throws me off. I don't think it goes with any of the other shades in this palette. So like for this kind of look, I could totally add that mint green shade. That would be so pretty, but like I can't see myself creating multiple looks with this palette. So let me know your thoughts on this brand and their products. Have you tried anything? I would love to know. I've heard their highlighters are good. Maybe they're like cream blushes. I don't know. Should I try more? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.